Oh my goodness, this nigga's still talking.
Oh, my fault. It's already started. Welcome to the Just Talk It podcast with your neighbor, little hood host, Doc Nah. Got a little bit of a tummy ache, but we're gonna make it through. We're gonna push through. It's Memorial Day. Are you happy this Memorial Day? You see any vets that you paid respects to? Any people who served your country and did what they just deserved? Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're here. This podcast, you're gonna see kind of how we're gonna do it, but hey, we're gonna just kind of start it out with just the Kingdom Hearts. I'm not gonna put on the trailer. I was thinking about it. I actually even have it pulled up on my screen. But we're not gonna go ahead and do that. Just because, I just don't think that it's necessary. Just because, obviously, it's just Kingdom Hearts being released, or the Kingdom Hearts games being released to the Steam store. So they did an announcement trailer. They did the re-recording of the song. E10 for if anything, I just kind of want to listen to a simple and clean re-recording. That's what we'll do. Oh, is it the whole 4 minutes? All right. Then we'll just play a little bit of this trailer because I actually haven't seen it yet. I was gonna watch the day of, but then they're like, so the Kingdom Hearts people like to do this 13 because Organization 13 and whatnot. 13 is a very popular number within the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So these niggas be like, oh yeah, these new games that come out in 13 days. The new trailer, and for the trailer, they're like, the trailer comes out in 13 hours. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. You got me trying to do fucking calculations here. It's like, it's 9 a.m. and I came off a freaking overnight shift and you got me doing this? No, thank you. I'm asleep, wake up, and hopefully make it for the wake up. I did not make it for the wake up, and I didn't make it after that either. But we're going to watch the first 2 minutes of this Kingdom Hearts Steam announcement trailer.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Yeah, so you see this nigga just walking. Hey!
A war will soon wage. When the time comes, you mustn't fight, but instead you must fly away from here to the world outside. The future is in all your hands, as is the world's light.
Oh, this is the Kingdom Hearts X joint.
Be your guiding key.
Where I think it was like the mobile app. Then this is Birth by Sleep.
Right now.
Oh, are they doing it by technical?
He needs you to believe.
They're doing it by technically the timeline of the storyline according to all the, because the mobile game is the Keyblade War.
Heart, or pay the price.
Then now this Birth by Sleep, we see all the kids.
If I stayed here with you?
Sure, if it will
make you feel better.
Thank you.
Oh, first thing that gets locked into Sora. And then 0 by 2 by Birth.
I'll return to Terra then.
The door is open, Sora.
Now we can go to the outside world.
Final mix, yeah. One for all.
Although my heart may
the
be
OG.
it's not alone, and it's found a home with all the friends
Pinocchio.
I don't need a weapon. My
Friends are my power.
Don't ever forget, wherever you go, I'm always with you.
Let's close this door for
It's actually kind of crazy seeing these niggas age now too. Riku. And Chain of Memories.
You have lost sight of the light within the darkness.
They lost the memories,
and it
then
seems that you've forgotten that you forgot.
Don't worry, you made another promise to someone who you could
never replace.
She is your light.
I hope it can always be just like
358 divided by 2 days.
Then I wasn't who I am.
Go on, you just keep running. but I'll always be there to bring you back.
Axel, bro. Oh my
Am I
God. One
the one who did this to you?
When
Looks like my summer vacation is
Kingdom Hearts 2.
over.
We pray for our sorrows to end
Oh, baby.
and hope that our hearts will blend.
Oh my gosh.
Now I will step forward to
Kingdom
realize
Hearts
this
2.
wish.
You're just watching all this shit over again.
And who
God
knows?
damn. You go.
Well, there is one advantage to being me.
Really? What's that?
Having you for a friend.
Oh, that's
There's a
cute.
road for the
That was
dead.
low-key Naruto
If
played
you win,
Sasuke, for real.
Our world's aching.
You say you accepted?
It's not a game.
Kingdom Hearts
They're waiting for
Recoded.
Sora. He's the only one who can put an end to their hurt.
You are the one who has made your
Dream
heart a
drop
prison.
distance.
Even if you,
You are not the prisoner.
I know the Keyblade didn't choose me,
And I don't care. Ooh.
I'm proud to be a small part of something bigger.
Mm.
People it did choose. My friends. They
They
are my power.
That's tough.
On that land shall darkness
And then
prevail
Kingdom
and
Hearts
light
3.
expire.
I'm gonna stop here. I guess to replace it. Man, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out my freshman year. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but me and the homie, bro. And that's funny because me and the homie, we basically, I don't even know if he actually remembers. I remember I was talking to him about it kind of recently. But he didn't fully remember. I remember one of the reasons that I like, because it was like two things. The first thing for the homie and me was like, I could technically name drop him, but I won't. If you know, you know. But the first thing for the homie and me is that it was actually my cousin that put me on the low. Sounds bad when I say it like that, kind of pause. But him and the homie already knew each other. I was in the English class with them, so I was cool with my cousin, obviously, and then the homie was sitting close enough to us, and we were all talking about Kingdom Hearts, and that was like the first conversation where I was like, oh yeah, this nigga cool. And then after that, it was me, another person that my cousin kind of like introduced me to, and the homie, and we all got paired together in a group. My cousin got put in a different group, pretty sure by his own choosing, or it might have been just because of how his seating was. But me, the homie, and then like some other guy, we were all in a group, and I suck at like pronouncing words sometimes and spelling words. It's the same thing with like being bad with names, honestly. It's all comes from the same thing. I don't be thinking and like, so I'll be like, I saw a parallelism, and for some reason my brain said parallelism. So then these niggas started making fun of me. I go and ask the teacher. I turned out to be wrong. They keep on going, and then we end up making a little joke about it, and then that's what it happens. That's how me and the homie became friends. Fast forward, we in the freshman year of college. It's January. Kingdom Hearts 3 just dropped. Oh my gosh, it was funny. So it was snowing that day. So we had classes, but then our classes got canceled early. So everything was done by around like 12 p.m. So me and him, we drive to the GameStop. We're gonna pick it up, and I'm living in a dorm. He's not living on campus. So me and him just going to the dorm study room. Some other niggas that we were kicking it in with the dorm, especially one that did play, he came down. We were playing it for days. And then we beat the game. I'm not gonna go into anything else that happened during that time, though. Like I said, if you know, you know. But just that very day did not end with just we were all sitting around the table playing Kingdom Hearts. But we did play other games. We played Uno too. I don't remember if I won or not. It's been 6 years. But that's just a little tangent side story about the homie and his love for Kingdom Hearts and how it brought us together. You could say the keys to our hearts were. Nah, let me stop. But yeah, that shit was nice. There's another side tangent. Dochi, Rayvon's on tour with Isaiah Rashad, so I guess like you kind of put theirs a little bit more together. They were all like, yeah, or all three of them, they're basically going crazy to not like us when they were performing, bro. All of them played that shit. I think Mal from that, he was originally from the Joe Budden podcast. I think he's somewhat was a rapper as well, but I don't think he took too kindly to that. I can't find exactly what he was saying, but I think Ray Vaughn called him a hater on Twitter, so we'll just let that simmer. But on that same similar related note, Snoop Dogg is out here recording for a new song, and you got a bar in there. Let's listen in. Let's tune in.
Big boss dog about to kick off shit. Gun clapping while y'all yapping on trip off shit. I did my shit, gave y'all more flavor to flip. Showed y'all niggas how to mix a bag of chips with that dip. I'm leading this shit. Y'all talking while I'm pleading the fifth. Bible picking with this script and I'm rewriting the script. D-O-double you in trouble about the bubble and simmer. Cold cock and K-dotting cause I'm humbling niggas. And dedicated, now that we situated. I see you.
I'm gonna say that line again for y'all.
Celebrated together forever. DPG would never end. Party at the doghouse, niggas so settle in. Drinks on me and smoke too. Not to give a motherfuck who you spoke to. Stop with all the pandemonium. See, now the homies is owning you.
The homies is owning ya. You should have not messed with the pandemonium. Niggas ain't here. I'll let you know. I'll let y'all dissect that one. I ain't gonna speak on it anymore after this. K-dotting cause I'm humbling niggas. That's what he said. Niggas right around. Yep. Yeah, dog. What we trying to do, man? What were we trying to do? There's also some weird thing, and it seems to be somewhat valid because you could there are actual links that prove to where the video was taken down from. But there was Kendrick Lamar's YouTube account posted 3 videos today that were quickly deleted, and the names of the videos were all the names of the songs that he released already, being Meet the Grams, Not Like Us, and Euphoria, and all of them has a picture of 3 different girls. And it's kind of strange. One of them, off the assumption, most people are assuming that it was hacked, but the post goes on and it actually finds that one of the females in the pictures was traced back, and people found a Twitter page with her picture, and it was made in June 2022. The weird thing is when you search up the barcode in the banner, human trafficking comes up, apparently. Like a human trafficking, not like a page, but like just that on Google. Like they took the barcode from like an N trafficking picture. And under her, like, under the one that she put in the banner, she put, "Love cannot be bought." The original one, apparently, is, like, N trafficking, so. Oh, well, nope. The barcode in the screenshot of the ex-user's header is not the same as those presented in the second picture. So, we're getting off here right now because this nigga basically devalued himself. However, the original thing is still seemingly true. I guess we can move on to the NBA playoffs. Playoffs. Da 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 da. But let me get a quick water from the fridge. You know, everybody has to be consistent with their water intake, all right? Don't let any of that stuff stop you from getting hydrated, all right? Drinking water is a very vital and important thing for you to do. All right. Yeah. Sucks that my tummy hurts a little bit, though. But the cold little water cooled me down. But, all right, so getting into the NBA. I had Timberwolves versus Mavs. I had Wolves in 7. It was Celtics Pacers. I think I had Celtics in 5. At most 6. First, I'm going to talk about the Celtics, and then I'm going to talk about what seemingly seems like a Mavs win, like how all those games are going on. Then I'm going to move into that finals, what the finals matchup is most likely looking like, and what I think about it. But I guess to start off with the Celtics, I hear all the criticism. I watched Game 1, and I watched most of Game 3. And they're not wrong. And that's the issue. A majority of Celtics fans aren't acting like this is a clean, perfect team. In fact, for the past few years, a lot of Celtics fans, for example, Funky Diabetic, B-Souls, and these are like big creator ones that I'm talking about. What's Dom 2K? They all have said and have, like, give credence to a large amount of, like, not a large amount, but, like, the choking and, like, struggle history of the Celtics. Especially within these past, like, 10 years. Right? So, keeping that in mind, it's like, what the Celtics did is that, all right, we know that, and look, I think, Lowe, who made a video about it, made a good point recently, and where he was saying that part of these like issues with like clutching up and doing all that and like being able to make the right plays always consistently at the right time. Part of it is the fact that what was I going to say? Part of it is the fact, and I agree, because I agree with Lowe in the earlier parts of the Boston Celtics building phase. Having Kyrie Irving there at that time, especially, was okay because they were way too like young, especially since, especially in the beginning. And people always forget this, and this, I'm going to end up talking about it later. But they had a great run that first year with Kyrie, like even in the regular season, and they would have been like more probable to beat the Cavs if Kyrie was playing for sure. And if he had never gotten hurt, there's a higher chance the team doesn't fall apart because people would have understood their role a lot better going into that next season. And this has been said by many. Also in that next season, people don't like to fucking mention it, but Jaylen Brown was suffering from a hand injury, so he wasn't getting consistent play time. It was left hand. Funny enough, keeps getting that one hurt. But it's like, I agree. After the Kyrie, leaving, I didn't like the fact that they got Kemba. In my opinion, I was all like, either we keep Terry Rozier. Honestly, what I really wanted was not even to keep Terry Rozier either. I wanted us to get I wanted us to get a TJ McConnell. I wanted us to keep Al Horford. Those are the two things I really wanted, because TJ McConnell is a good and active passer, and he's more of a Ricky Rubio-esque type thing, where you don't feel like he's going to take up a significant amount of the offense. But Kemba Walker was still going to do that, especially since he had just gotten the max from the Celtics. And that was my issue. I was like, dude, why are we signing in a whole max? We're losing Al Horford, someone who was great for our team and our chemistry. Even though the chemistry and all that shit fell apart, he's still great. We're going to keep getting him back because we realized how great he was, also in the passing and whatnot. So it's just like, I didn't like the way we went about that season following after Kyrie basically left the Nets. And granted, I'm one of those Celtics fans that think it was really Kyrie's fault. If a whole city and town is telling you that they hate you and they want you to leave because of one bad playoff series, literally, it was only one bad playoff series, And then like also because of the rumors and like it was a bad year. I'll say that actually. Not a bad year for real, but like just didn't meet expectations. But also keep in mind how Gordon Hayward was coming off that injury and he was getting starting minutes. Like there was a lot of issues around the team and all that. After that, we're still wondering now if Jason Tatum can get that consistent spark. Does he have that consistent motor, especially when driving and going to the rim, especially not being afraid of the contact and not trying to just draw the foul, but actually trying to finish the play? We don't particularly know. It's like, and then like my biggest thing with the Celtics has always been, and this happened, and this is why I don't, like, people will say Ime Udoka was better than Brad Stevens. Ime Udoka is better than our current coach. Sure, I'll give Ime that he's better than our current coach. That's not too hard, I want to say. Doc Rivers might be better than him, to be honest. But Brad Stevens was a hell of a coach that for some reason we all just sweep the rug under because they ended up, number one, he had them overperforming consistently. You got to keep in mind how young those teams were, and they were just like, they had depth. And it was even before Jason Tatum. He had the IT teams competing. He had those teams competing, and they were always consistently a top 5 defense. For some reason, there was this like notion that he couldn't get them to have a good defense. They had top 5 defenses almost every year that he was there as the coach. It was never his fault. And that's my thing. I'm like, if there's one thing Brad Stevens should be doing while he's in the front office, and as well as he's done in the front office, to be completely honest as well. The one thing I want Brad Stevens to do is teach these niggas how to run scrams properly. Because there's no way that I watched in 2020 the Celtics running a more consistent, better defensive game plan against the 2020 Raptors after Kawhi already left than what I'm seeing being run. It's not even Celtics. It's today's league. I don't know why we're giving up switches so easily. We're just leaving people out to die. You don't want to fight over the switches? What's going on? There's no like quick trap and then fall back to the big. No, you can't trust none of that. Make the big do a short roll. I understand, like, and then like even with the Timberwolves, they weren't doing it against the. We won't get into that series yet. But I just had issues with how the Celtics had started their rebuild. I didn't like the fact that they were just like, oh yeah, let's press on the button with a 22-year-old Tatum or a 23-year-old Brown and keep trying to press the button immediately, knowing not perfectly trying to like fit the pieces together. So when Brad Stevens was in the office and he started like cooking for real, that's when it started working. And I actually had like good hopes for this season, with Porzingis, with the additions of Porzingis. Drew Holiday, as a defender, I like him. His inconsistencies in the playoffs definitely are haunting. And that's why I don't really want him to necessarily just have the starting role or like be playing. Like I want him to be playing more like spot minutes a bit more since we have the team. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like there's still, to an extent, an ego within the people in the team and locker room. And that's okay. It's you're supposed to have an ego. That's how you make it far. You don't want to be like DeMar DeRozan, lose your ego midway whenever you see LeBron. You're just like, I can't win. Nah, I want you to see people like you feel like, oh, you might not be or that are supposedly better than you, but you're supposed to feel like you're the best player on the court right when you're about to step onto it. You might not end up being it, but hey, you gotta feel like it. So I do have issues with that, and I feel like all Celtics fans realize that. No Celtics fan has been out here saying this was a hard Eastern Conference run. I don't like the notion of where it's like, yes, we get it. It's easy run. Everybody's injured. All right, cool. We're playing who we have to play. I heard that so fucking much. That Lakers run was also easy. And then do you know what my homie told me? Saying homie from the Kingdom Hearts story. You know what he told me? Because he a Lakers fan. He said you play the teams that are in front of you. Okay. So let us play the teams that are in front of us. Everybody's saying we're going to get challenged in the finals. Let us get challenged in the finals. Everybody was saying we had to make it to the finals. All right, we're making it to the finals. We're not making it any more than 5 games. People are upset that the games are being close. I understand that as well. We should be winning by a lot more to a lot of these teams, especially when they're struggling. However, when you also look at some of these teams, such as the Cavs, when Donovan Mitchell was out early in the season, and for some reason they were pulling out offset wins. For some reason they were staying close with other teams. Don't you think it's peculiar that now that it's with us, they're not supposed to stay close and we're supposed to just blow them out? Okay, that's cool. And that's what I'm saying. I understand the idea behind some of these issues, but I do think it's a little bit overplayed. Not only that, but we didn't have Porzingis in the Cavs series, and we don't have Porzingis in the Pacers series. Without Porzingis, we are not nearly the overpowering team that people think we are. Especially when you have Al Horford out there, and he was playing like more bench role minutes type shit, and now you're putting him back in starting minutes. And again, it's terrible freaking defense in which we're just giving away switches. And again, that's not just a Celtics thing. That is a league-wide problem. I just watched the Mavs take Rudy Gobert consistently. I watched in Game 3, Jaden Hardy get the ball from Luka. Luka seeing it was Rudy Gobert on him. Luka told him to keep going, like just to go and do it. And then this nigga drew a foul on Rudy Gobert. Why are we letting these people have to guard out in space when these are the better These are the better post and rim defenders, especially that we have on the team. That's my issue. But besides that, I think we can have some like actual things going. I feel like we can still beat the. Well, let me get into the Mavs Timberwolves series since I've already made the transition. In the Mavs Timberwolves series, I definitely thought it was going to be like a hard-fought series, but I thought Timberwolves would have the edge. But 2 things are showing. Number 1, youth. That is definitely showing. Number 2, diversity of defense. Because it seems like they were just running one type of defense the entire time. And because of that, they're not used to running zones and everything that they're doing in Game 3. So because they're not actually used to doing like different defensive game plans, they don't know how to properly shut certain things down. And they don't know how to like do like who they want to drop back or when they have those screens. They don't know how to scram properly. They don't know. They're not even. I just don't know why they're not fighting over screens more. I feel as though like there got to be some better screen navigation. Like there's no way none of them can navigate through screens. Either that or you got to do a better job of staying off of Luka's back so Luka doesn't just get like Gobert or whoever the center is at that time in a like choose 2 type of situation where he has to either defend the roll on the back end or he has to defend Luka in that mid-range area. Because that's basically where you put him. And it's a bad spot every time. Because Luka can find that person. Kyrie can find that person. Whether it's Gafford, Lively, to an even extent, PJ Washington. And a Derek Jones. And they have lob threats everywhere, honestly. Even Kyrie can catch a lob. Hey, let me not. But that's what I'm saying. It just felt like weakly done. I don't know. I also wish, so in Game 2, they played Cat less because number 1 Nas Reed was on fire. during that moment, I wish they played Naj, Reed, and Cat. You open up the floor for Anthony Edwards, and they did it this game, and they actually did present a better run. They just couldn't. It just proved that they couldn't get stops on the other side after that, because they want more of the switch everything scheme, and that's not always the best. And I would say it was also surprising the way Kyrie was able to easily dribble around the double teams. Like, it's one thing if he splits, you shouldn't let him do that, and I don't think he did that more than like twice that game. It's one thing if he splits because you guys weren't like closed enough in the soft double. Because then if he splits, you just ruin, because that he gets in and there's two people just in backline, just don't know what to do after that. And you just put basically a 5-on-3. But other than like the splits, like the fact that he could dribble around Rudy Gobert in game 2 and 3, the fact that he was dribbling around Cat in game 3 too, more specifically, since that's when they had him in, it was just like, wow. There was just nothing that they could do to really like impact the ball, and that was the issue. Because once you get him and Luka the possibility of a clean look, it's really just whether they make it or not. And they can make it when they need to make it, and it's just unfortunate. Cat also struggling a lot more from 3. Like I said, I wish they either had him more going downhill or had him more in positions, especially when he was in there with Naj Reed more than Rudy Gobert. When they had him in positions more to like post up, but start up already deep in the post. I feel like he had success in previous games when he was already deeper in the post against, because usually he had the matchup with PJ Washington. So it was like when he was already deeper in the post, he could just flick the ball up and it was just easier because he had the height advantage. When he's further, he doesn't have the touch as much to really get those further shots in, and PJ Washington is too strong for him to properly back down, especially if there is a Rudy Gobert in that game. I also felt that there were certain times, like in game 2, for example, I saw Kyrie go from the corner and try and run and get a swipe out on Cat, but Cat didn't lose the ball when Kyrie did that. And that should have made Cat should have went to the corner for that rotation right after that. Or I think it was McDaniels that was even who was on the corner that got Kyrie's guarded. McDaniels should have cut. He should not have stayed on that 3-point corner. Game 1, he was going crazy. Game 2, Game 3, even less of an pretty sure. But he was in foul trouble. And that's the other thing, man. You play aggressive, you have a high chance of getting into foul trouble against these guys. Because these guys have rip-through moves. They can do it all. I didn't expect for the Timberwolves defense to not only be figured out in this manner, but because the thing before was that, like, the Jazz just had bad perimeter defense. And yeah, these are 2 of the best perimeter attackers, like offensive players that you can have, especially that are on one team. But I feel like they just didn't know how to properly. They just weren't used to this type of guarding. And to be fair, they didn't even really face this in their regular season matchups. Kyrie or Luka, I'm pretty sure, were always injured, like one or the other, or even there's at least one game where both of them were injured. So it's like they never got these types of reps. They're doing a fairly basic defensive game plan, one that Rudy has been doing for years. He's known for. I just think the moment Luka stops getting them on their back, it's going to be a harder game for Luka. And that's what I think the Timberwolves would have to focus in on. Me personally, I've been a big fan of Dallas Mavericks for a while. I think they were actually my dark horse in a recorded but unreleased video that I'd done with some of my homies or some of the guys. They were my dark horse to actually make it out of the West. And part of that was just because, hey, I'm a super duper Kyrie fan. Like, Kyrie is my favorite player. He's always gonna be my favorite player. I buy his shoes. That's what it is. But it's just like, I just didn't expect them to have enough. I questioned their center depth. I questioned Lively. I understood that he was actually a pretty good passer for his age and whatnot. But now it seems like he's just a good passer off the short roll. Like he's looking to make that pass if he doesn't have a clear lane immediately. And he's looking, it feels like, before the catch. So he sees where the defense is coming from. And then Daniel Gafford, I didn't know what to expect from him. I thought he was going to be more of a hook shot type merchant a little bit. And he has that, and I think it's great for him to, especially to, for him with Lively to learn through. He's a little bit stronger than Lively, especially. So when during that Thunder series where he just wanted a bigger body, that's why they played him more than Lively in that point. You needed someone who would go hard in the role, less than someone that you needed to be a passer in that short role. And that's why I'm like, all right, the Timberwolves got to show different looks based off the personnel on the floor. If I have Derek Lively on the floor, I am blitzing. Or I'm not blitzing. I'm going to make the others see if the others can beat me. I'm going to try and get closeouts and contest and try and do that perfectly. When Daniel Gafford is in the game, we blitz. We make Daniel Gafford play out of that short roll. We can see if he's going to be a willing passer. If not, if he can't consistently be a passer, and that's what happened in Game 3. When Lively went down with that injury to the back, and then Anthony Edwards started going off, Daniel Gafford was selling the game. I was telling my homies, I was like, Cat's going to protect Anthony Edwards from the slam. This is right before Anthony Edwards started going off. I was all like, Cat Slander finna protect Ant. And I was like, Daniel Gafford is selling, bro. Because, jeez, bro. But then in that last, minute, 2 minutes, he started cooking again. And I was like, I was impressed. Like, he got that block. He got that pivotal block. And then Luka fed him on the other side with that alley. And it was just resounding. Like, god damn. So it was like good games all around. More West than East, obviously. I think, especially after the Knicks got injured, there wasn't really anything to be too impressed with about the East, because they were the only team, in my opinion, that could challenge the Celtics, especially without a Porzingis. Without a Porzingis, I had Celtics against the Knicks, for example, in 6, 7. But without Porzingis, rather 6, 7. With Porzingis, it's 5, 6, because I feel like we could definitely stretch them out a little bit more. And this is assuming they still wouldn't even have Mitchell Robinson. Even if they had Mitchell Robinson, I could see it'd be 6, 7. But Mitchell Robinson was more of a surprise for me to come back to the playoffs than anything. But even around the end, you can't even say the refs are on Dallas' side, because Luka and Kyrie were getting fouled and everything. And this is a pretty physical manner of play and everything. But they were just making it and shooting and dribbling through all of it. Luka got fouled during his turnaround fader. Hit that joint regardless. It was actually nuts. And that's why I was like, I don't know. I guess my biggest thing was, can people be good shot makers forever? In the recent past, we had seen that that's not the case. But if you're a great shot creator while also being a great passer, it just makes it worse. Because Luka, especially in Game 2, when the blitzers were coming, he was doing step backs into bullet passes down to the middle to that rolling big. Timberwolves let this series fall and slip out of their hands. I felt like, because if you think about it, their role players came. They've had a role player step up every single, like, and not maybe not even just one actually, because Jaden McDaniels game 1, but there was still some decent other people. And then game 2, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels was still kind of there. Game 3, Kyle Anderson was perfect in the fourth quarter for a minute. He was keeping them in the game. Like, it was quite crazy. Like he literally made a hop shot after catching the ball, like getting the ball when he was off the 3-point line, made a one-legged like push shot, and it fell in. Like, and it was deep corner too, type range. Like, geez, bro. And it's just like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't think the coaching has been the best on the Timberwolves side. I don't think it's been. I think they have a lot that they can work on and fix. Besides coaching, because for example, I don't know if it was game 2 or 3, but it was a game where coming out, and shout out Kenny because he was one of the people who pointed out, you come out the half as the Timberwolves or out of timeout, and you're trying to do a Rudy Gobert post-up. Rudy Gobert doesn't have good post-up moves. I'm not doing Rudy Gobert post-ups. He's getting his shots off of putbacks, off of lobs, off of those types of things, or off of like rolls. And you don't even like it, just clear cut like him all the way to the basket. That's all I would want from Rudy Gobert. I don't know why you would ever do that. I'd prefer you do that for Cat, and that's what I'm saying. They weren't running Cat in the best situations. They're running him as more of a solely spacer. They're running him like he's a perimeter player. He doesn't have the handles. He doesn't have necessarily the speed to really be a consistent perimeter player like that. Like, he can space out the floor, but I need you to let him get shots early in. Help him make the game easier. I just don't know if he's getting put in those positions. I also say I feel like Cat has been a increasingly better passer. Part of it is because, especially with Rudy Gobert, he's been having to be a more willing passer. But I don't think they were using a passing version of Cat to a good degree either. It feels like they're letting everything be limited. And of course, I'm not saying Cat is going to be making good, quick decisions, hitting cutters and whatnot. I'm not saying he's going to be Jokic. But having him play with the ball and kind of like already sink the defense in would make it so Anthony Edwards doesn't only have to try and get it off in transition or whatever. He can just attack closeouts. And that's the thing. No one's giving Anthony Edwards closeouts to attack. Now, it's really like everybody else is getting them, especially off of Anthony Edwards, but they're not giving him as many. And that's the thing, because Dallas is doing that. Have you seen, like, whenever they're about to double team Kyrie usually swang it to Luka, because Kyrie isn't necessarily tall, or whenever they try to double him, before when he didn't have momentum and he was going off to the side or whatnot, like when he wasn't like calling for a screen. Whenever they try to double him off of when it was really like half court basketball usually, and there was no screening, they tried to get the double in on him early before the screening came. He would just swing it to Luka, because the moment you bring a double team and Luka is on the other end of the court, you basically guarantee an almost one-on-one for Luka. To where you did that, the defense is scared, so they might be overreacting, so they might be trying to do a quick double on Luka. Luka can pass out. He's tall enough to where he can pass over the top of the double. And it's almost no problem. And I think that's the interesting part there. I do think, and to an extent, the Celtics should be a quote unquote better version of the Timberwolves per se, in terms of not necessarily just like depth, but consistency or should be consistency on both ends of the court. We would have the better perimeter defenders. Obviously, we don't have the paint presence of a Rudy Gobert. But in a Mavs-Celtic matchup, number one, I'm conflicted. All right. Play the Kendrick. I remember you was conflicted. All right. I'm conflicted. Because on one hand, I wanted Kyrie for a while to win another championship. I didn't, especially, and after he left the Celtics, I didn't care whether it was going to be on the Celtics or not. When he was on the Celtics, I wanted to be on the Celtics, obviously. But when he left, I was like, all right, cool, man. I don't blame you completely. Obviously, you shoulder some blame. Tatum shoulders some blame because he wasn't efficient either. Brown shoulders some blame. Like, the coaching shoulders blame because he wasn't able to get his guys ready and on the same page. Like, there was considerable blame to be held around. And how it stemmed, it makes sense. Because younger players are always trying to prove themselves. Like, and that's the thing. And it's not like anything new. Kyrie, to an extent, was trying to do the same thing. He was trying to prove himself without LeBron because he didn't really get a chance to do that. He was still growing as that young player at first. And he, especially with how things ended up going, it was just not consistent. But it was fun. This is a new version of Kyrie. I've been loving watching him play. I've always, like, one of the things that I've said is that Kyrie has, like, almost every single skill you'd want, especially for a guard at that size. But what I felt like is that sometimes he just took over too much. Like, he didn't pass enough. Like, the things that he would create the space for because of how dynamic he was, he didn't use that to advantage to help his teammates enough. That was my issue with Kyrie at first. And with Dallas, I felt like it was completely the other way around, which is why I didn't understand. Like, in the beginning of the season, he wasn't averaging as much points, but he was, like, highly efficient. He was doing what he could. He was playing better defense even earlier on. And I've always told people, Kyrie's a good defender. He's just not always defending. Now we're seeing it, him being a good defender, but now he's more consistently defending. He's working on that end consistently. And, like, it's just great to see. I already seen a video of a Celtics fan talking about, he stepped on Lucky. We can't let him get away with this, okay? It's okay that the East is weak. We just can't let Kyrie win. And I'm like, yo, bro, I want to win. I don't want the Celtics to lose. I'll say that. I wouldn't be mad if I saw Kyrie get a win. And that's the thing that I'm conflicted about. And to an extent, it builds on the bigger topic of that people have been saying with NBA, especially nowadays, where it's like people aren't fans of teams anymore. People are fans of players. And it's like, to certain people, how much do they care about their team's success versus a player's? And, like, I obviously didn't think that this would be the case, that Kyrie would be on the Dallas Mavericks. And the year after he gets traded, and the year after they missed the playoffs, I didn't think that. I thought next year was when they were really going to start competing. Like, another year with Derek Lively being a better player, maybe stronger, maybe, like, more in tune, but it happened. I also was, like I said, I was sus on Daniel Gafford. I was sus PJ Washington because PJ Washington, he went crazy in the OKC series for like two and a half games, and he was hitting clutch shots in those, and even in this one, he had a important corner three. But I'm like, is he going to be able to hit consistently? I had questions. So I just didn't think this would happen. And now they're both, Celtics and Mavs are both 3-0 in their series. Most likely Celtics are going to win. I can see the Mavs letting go of a game or two, but I doubt it. I doubt them letting go of two. I'm conflicted. Moving on past that, let's actually talk about the matchup a little bit. So we're talking about the matchup of the Celtics versus the Mavs. I like I said earlier, I think the Celtics still have a chance to beat the Mavs without Porzingis. However, especially after watching these past 3 games, I have gotten less and less in believing so, just because the way that the Celtics are able, or the Mavericks are able to pack the paint is so phenomenal. Because if you look at OKC and the Timberwolves, to an extent, they're different versions of the Celtics. Where OKC is probably a better pick because Chet, Porzingis, J-Dubs, Jaylen Brown, Shea, Tatum. Those are like more one-to-one comparisons. I think right now Shea is the better player than Tatum. Better scorer, not as good of a playmaker and not necessarily the defender, but the scoring, and he's still a good enough playmaker to where I would give him the edge over Tatum. Anthony Edwards, I definitely think is worse than Tatum, obviously. And then they don't have the offensive capabilities. It's like Timberwolves more have like the defensive capabilities that the Celtics can like in the terms of potential and like peak. They have a similar peak defense in my opinion. Obviously, Timberwolves is slightly better or looked better because of all their fun run strategy, but hey, Celtics in my opinion are better, should be better on the perimeter. Moving past that, their interior, I would argue, is more like the OKC, where it's like Porzingis can be a stopper just like Chet is, but a hard body like Daniel Gafford into Porzingis, especially if he's still not going to be like a good amount like recovered from his injury by then, because they need a healthy Porzingis to like really to stress them as how Chet was stressing them. If not, I don't know. I don't think Horford can be that guy. Like I said, if without Porzingis, I choose the Celtics in 7. However, it would be so dumb that I wouldn't even be surprised if Mavs won in 6. I would not be surprised if Mavs won in 6 without Porzingis, or without a good 80%, 90% even Porzingis. Because that's what he has to be like. Because this, and like I was saying, the Celtics team, because they are prone to mistakes, to haphazard shots, to not really thinking basketball, funny enough, but just playing it. Because, like, when you're playing street ball or whatever, and there's no shot clock and whatever, the way they do possessions is a little bit more okay. But when you take into account all the other factors that go into the teams, that's when it matters. But like I was saying, the Celtics are going to have a struggling time with their interior presence, especially if Derek Lively comes back. I think the Celtics would be better fit to blitz, and I've seen them run some zone, I'm pretty sure, this season. So I think they're better fit to throw some things at the Mavericks. However, I don't believe in the coaching. I do believe that what is his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Joe Mazzulla. I do believe Joe Mazzulla is at most an average coach. I don't believe that he's an above average coach. In fact, all NBA coaches. Let's do ranked even. 2024, May 10th. This is when this was. Oh, no, these are coaching candidates. All right, so this is the ranking beforehand. Obviously, yeah, Joe Mazzulla beforehand, they literally put him at 17. So, yeah, like I was saying, Chris Finch is 20th, but I do think they gave him a little bit of low score. Is Billy Donovan better than Joe Mazzulla? And that's the thing. If you're asking me, I do think Jason Kidd is the better coach. I do think they have the better player in Luka. I think that we have the next two best players. If Porzingis is back, you might be able to make an argument for 3. Though, with how Kyrie is performing, I would still put him above Porzingis. A mature Kyrie, because this is the thing. This just means there's less mistakes. Because the issue with Kyrie is that some of the shots that he would take, he would be the one that would lose some of the basketball IQ because he would just take shots. And if they didn't go in, it was it could be a backbreaker. And it was, mostly like random threes off transition or him just trying to do too much and then like score afterwards. And that's what I'm saying. His dynamic, when he wasn't using how dynamic he was to help his team. So now if you're asking me, Luka getting a little bit possibly more healed up. Kyrie. If Porzingis is also back, I have Celtics in 6, which can still go to 7. I have Celtics winning if Porzingis is healthy. If Porzingis is not healthy, the Celtics will have a better chance. I might go with the Mavs. All this talk to just for me to sit here and admit, wow, I might go with the Mavs. And again, I'm conflicted because I want to see Kyrie win another ring. I've been a big Kyrie supporter, a big Kyrie fan. And I've never even said Kyrie can do no wrong. But it's just, man. Hey, I'll just say this. I just want to watch great hoops at the end of the day. If I can see great hoops, because I hated the fact that the Warriors beat the Celtics, but I didn't hate the fact that Kyrie won. I would love the fact. I would kind of love the fact that the Mavericks won throughout this entire season. Besides the Celtics, I might have watched more Mavericks games than I watched the Celtics games this season, actually. Because I always liked Luka as a player. When he first got drafted, I had a friend, and he was on the Trae Young bandwagon. I was on the Luka one. He was all like, Trae Young just saucy. He got a bad. He's not like that fat Slovenian. Trae Young's not like a fat bastard. That's what that man would tell me. And then afterwards, we started seeing this man, Luka, started losing a little bit more, started whipping out more. He got the ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-too. And, hey, got that prime Harden back on the low. Hey, win some, lose some. You play to keep going. But I'd like to thank you guys all for tuning in, listening. This is kind of like a sporadic, nasty one. We're going to end it in an hour. All right. Don't forget to drink your water. Stay safe. Stuck now. And it's just talking podcast. Go Celtics! Go Kyrie and the Mavs. Ultimately, I hope the Celtics win because this is a successful season for Kyrie and the Mavs, regardless. I guess the question is, do you think they can do it again next year? That would be the issue. A better Minnesota team, possibly. Although there is the thing with, Are you going to lose Cat, or are you going to lose some of the role players that have been playing very well? Hey, we'll talk about offseason when we talk about offseason. I'll have people on for those. Niggas, we're going to have to start cooking up a little bit closer to June, man. We'll have that little June bug on us. But I'm going to catch you on the next one.
That was the Just Talking Podcast.